Now this illustration deals with negative polarity, where we still have conductors number 6 or smaller. Now we're this time reviewing NEC 210.5, C as in car, to little b1 through little b3. Remember, previously it was additive polarity and or positive polarity, and we were using 210.5 C2 little a1 through little a3. So for negative power, we would use the section shown. Now, first of all, let's review our notes again first. And the grounded neutral conductor is not connected to a positive polarity of the DC system as prohibited by 210.5 C2B3. Note 2, the negative ungrounded phase conductors should be identified as follows using the 2 bullets. The first bullet, continuous black stripe, outer finish, durably marked any color except green, white, gray, or red. The second bullet, imprinted minus sign, or the word negative, or NEG, abbreviated, durably marked with a color other than green, white, gray, or red. Again, at intervals not exceeding 24 inches as required by 210.5 C2 little b1 through little b3. Now, with the bullets reviewed, let's review to the right of the illustration first, right below the note 3. Identification methods utilized for conductors originating in the panel board. Now, our documentation were readily available or permanently posted at panel board or branch circuit distribution equipment, but we follow all of the requirements and we must comply with 210.5 C as in car 2. And then the last bullet, 4 or 6 AWG should be identified by polarity at all terminations, connections, and splice points so that we don't get a positive and negative cross. And then for approval, if we need approval from the authority having jurisdiction before we start, where the authority is willing to come out and talk to you or just give you information just for your own use, then 90.4, 110.2, and the definitions of approval and identified or reviewed in Article 100, then you know exactly the authority and power that the authority having jurisdiction is given in accordance with 90.4, and then the definition of the authority having jurisdiction in Article 100. Now, with that thought in mind, we have a branch circuit panel board here, and the negative polarity for number 6 is black or smaller insulation identification. And then notice we identified that negative polarity in accordance with 210.5 C2 little b1 through b3. And again, this DC system is operating greater than 50 volts, so our conductors will be number 4 or larger in compliance with 210.5 C2. So once again, it seems all through the code now, a cutoff for requirements for certain items and many items is number 6 or smaller or number 4 or larger. And if you remember, if you've been going through the volume 1 and 2, that when we size junction boxes and pull boxes and device boxes, square boxes and so forth, it was based upon number 6 or smaller, and we used our table 314, I believe it is, 6B or 5B in that area, or 16. I forget. I'm getting old, I guess. My memory fails me a bit. But then notice if we are sizing for number 4 larger conductors, we would have to look at our 314.28A for straight pull and B for U or angle pull. So that's just one illustration there, or example given, where the number 6 or less or number 4 or larger is determining sizes to determine which section of the code that we use. So there's a good example of that rule here that you would need to review. And again, look at that 314, I believe out maybe it's 16 B1 through B5 that we would review in Article 314 for sizing device boxes, square boxes, octane boxes. So this figure 14-38 is simply illustrating the negative polarity for sizes number 6 or smaller and how they should be identified so we do not get mixed up as installers and connect the negative to a positive area and cause a lot of problems in the electrical system.